right, we're going to do derivative of this thing right here and simplify it all the way down to where, and I'll just tell you what the answer is. The answer is this right here, -1 over parentheses sine x plus cosine x squared, quantity squared. That's our goal answer here. So let's see if we can work and use this space right here to work that out. Okay, so this is going to be a quotient rule problem. Make sure I'm looking at the right one. Yeah, and we're going to make a big parenthesis here and do, you know, low d high and high d low and all that stuff. So this is going to be 1 plus cotangent of x, and then the derivative of the top. The derivative of the cotangent is negative cosecant squared. Negative cosecant squared of x, like that. Okay? And then we have minus, let's see, high d low. So this would be double parenthesis there so we don't forget to filter that negative sign through. Cotangent x, and then the derivative of the bottom, which would just be basically the same thing again, because the derivative of 1 is of course 0. The derivative of cotangent is the negative cosecant squared of x. Complete that, and then on the bottom we got 1 plus cotangent of x squared. All right, so that's the quotient rule. Now let's clean this mess up a little bit. So we're going to have on the top, we're going to go ahead and distribute through here. Let me change this color. We're going to distribute through like this and see what we get after that. Okay, so we're going to have negative cosecant squared x times 1 is that, minus the cosecant squared x cotangent x. That's just this part here. That's that part. And then minus parenthesis cosecant squared x cotangent x. And that would be negative right there, right? And then we're going to change that into a positive on the next line. So I'm going to, I'll go ahead and not skip steps here, so I don't confuse myself or anybody else. Now this is going to be cosecant squared minus cosecant squared x cotangent x plus cosecant squared cotangent x, and there should be an x right there too, all over 1 plus cotangent x quantity squared. It looks like I'm doing rocket science, but I'm really just doing a whole bunch of rewriting. Alright, so on the next step, I'll just, because I can undo this, these two things are going to cancel each other. I mean, look at it. It's like plus or minus a whole bunch of stuff and plus the same whole bunch of stuff. Well, that's going to just, those whole terms there are going to cancel each other, leaving me with negative cosecant squared over 1 plus cotangent of x quantity squared. Quantity squared. Now, from here, the way I did this may not be the best way, but it works. Okay, so I made negative cosecant squared into negative 1 over the sine squared of x. So these two, this right here and this right here, are the same thing. and that's all over 1 plus the well, actually, let me go back. Instead of doing cotangent, I'm going to write it as cosine over sine. So the cosine of x over the sine of x, quantity squared. And that's because the cotangent, there's a rule that says the cotangent of x equals the cosine of x over the sine of x. So I put that in there because I want to try to see if I can get some stuff to cancel. Now, the next step, I have to actually FOIL this thing on the bottom to get this to work, which is completely gross. So let me show you how that works. 1 plus cosine x sine x. I'm basically just going to FOIL this. All right, now check this out. 1 times 1 is 1, plus 1 times this thing here is just this thing, cosine x sine x. And then I have plus this times 1, which is another 1. There should be x's there. And then this times itself is just going to be plus, let's see, did I write that? I wrote that as cosine x over sine x squared. Okay, and then this becomes 1 plus, and there's 2 of them now, so it's just 2 cosine sine, sorry, it's a little sloppy there, plus the cosine of x sine of x quantity squared. And there probably is a better way to do this, but this will work. So now I'm going to take all of this and put it down here, get a nice clean one, and then make a copy of it and put it on a different slide here in a second. So, all right. We have the top will be -1 over sine squared of x. And on the bottom, I have 1 plus 2 cosine x sine x plus cosine over sine of x squared. Okay, and we're back after some technical difficulties there. So it's a white background now. Don't ask questions. Thing we're going to do at this point is multiply the top and bottom by the sine squared of x. Now remember, you can do anything you want to a fraction. Like, for example, if I have 2/3 and I multiply the top by 7 and the bottom by 7, I still get a fraction that reduces back down to 2/3. So by doing this part, it's like multiplying something by 1. But when you do this, it can actually cancel some stuff and make your life a little bit better. So this is on the top here. If I extend this line on out through here, that's like in the numerator spot. So this and this will cancel each other, leaving me with -1 on the top. On the bottom, this thing has to be distributed all the way through this thing. Okay? So what you wind up with is this. Sine squared of x times 1 is the sine squared of x. The sine squared of x times this thing, you can see that this right here will cancel one of these. One of these. Remember, sine squared of x is sine squared, sine squared. So there's 2 of them. So one of these gets canceled. And what I have left is 2 cosine x sine x. And I could have flipped the order on that, but it doesn't really matter. And then on the other side, what I'm left with is, since this here, right here, equals the cosine squared of x sine squared of x, that right there will cancel this, leaving me on the bottom with just plus cosine squared of x. Now, here's the part where we go back. Remember, our goal here is to get this answer right here. That answer right there. Well, we're just about there. Let me try to convince you of it. This bottom is of the form x squared plus y squared. Now think about it. This actually... No, I did that wrong. It's of the form x plus y squared. Because if I do this, watch what happens. That would be x plus y, which is x squared plus xy plus xy plus y squared. And that's x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. That's exactly of this form. It's like this squared plus 2 of each of them plus cosine squared. That's the exact same thing where x is a sine and y is a cosine. So I can rewrite this as -1 over the sine of x plus the cosine of x quantity squared. And that's how the book expresses that answer. And there you go. Like I said, there's probably an easier way to do that, but there's my answer for it. Have a good one.